The distress signal crackled through the quantum communication array at Terra Station, cutting through the routine chatter of interstellar traffic like a blade through silk. Communications Officer Zeth Prime, a methodical Volcarian with crystalline skin that reflected the station's blue emergency lighting, immediately flagged the transmission as Priority Alpha. Emergency broadcast from the research vessel Stellar Inquiry, Zeth announced, his translator converting his harmonic speech into standard galactic. Ship designation Kepler 7749. Crew of 43 beings from the Andorian Science Collective. They're trapped in the gravity well of a collapsing neutron star. Station Commander Yarex K, a veteran reptilian whose scales had dulled with age and experience, leaned forward in her command chair. She'd seen enough disasters in her 2-century career to know when a situation was truly hopeless. What's their status? Hull integrity at 60% and falling. Their primary engines are offline, and the neutron star's gravitational field is pulling them past the event horizon. They have approximately 4 hours before. Zeth's voice trailed off. They all knew what happened when anything crossed that line. Nearest rescue vessels? The Krallon heavy cruiser Ironwheel is 18 hours out. The Centaurian medical frigate Gentle Touch is 22 hours away. Zeth's crystalline features dimmed with the hopelessness of the math. No one can reach them in time. Yarex K's claws drummed against her armrest. 43 souls about to be compressed into a singularity, and the entire galactic rescue network was too far away to help. It was the kind of tragedy that would make headlines across 1,000 worlds and spawn another commission on emergency response protocols. Wait, Zeth suddenly straightened, his crystal skin brightening. There's something else. The Stellar Inquiry is specifically requesting human assistance. A strange silence fell over the command center. Even the background hum of the station's systems seemed to quiet. Humans? Yarex K's translator made confused clicking sounds. The nearest human vessel is 6 hours away, Zeth confirmed. A single pilot craft designated Phoenix Rising. Pilot identification, Captain Marcus's Ghost Chen, Terran Aerospace Command. Yarex K had heard whispers about human pilots in the officer lounges. Impossible stories about ships that shouldn't fly, maneuvers that defied physics, and humans who somehow survived situations that would kill any sensible being. Most species regarded these tales as typical human braggadocio. One human pilot against a neutron star, she muttered. They've lost their minds. But the emergency protocols were clear. Any rescue attempt was better than none. 30 minutes later, Captain Marcus Chen's voice came through the quantum array with the casual confidence that seemed to characterize all human communications. Terra Station, this is Phoenix Rising. I've got your coordinates, and I'm burning hard toward the neutron star. ET, 4 hours, 15 minutes. Captain Chen Yarex K's voice carried the weight of command authority. I need to be clear about the situation. The Stellar Inquiry is caught in a gravity well that has already passed the point of no return. Even if you reach them, extraction may be impossible. There was a pause filled with static, then, Commander, with respect, impossible isn't really in our vocabulary. Phoenix is equipped with experimental TerraDrive technology. We'll figure something out. Over the next 4 hours, the command center became a nexus of galactic attention. Representatives from a dozen species monitored the rescue attempt, while xenophysicists ran calculations that all reached the same conclusion: mathematical impossibility. The Stellar Inquiry continued its inexorable fall toward the neutron star, its hull buckling under gravitational forces that would have crushed conventional starship designs. Captain Vorth 9, the Andorian commander of the research vessel, maintained communication despite the temporal distortion that made each transmission a garbled echo of desperation. Phoenix Rising, this is Captain Vorth 9. came the stretched, distorted voice. Our structural integrity is at 30%. The gravity well is affecting our chronometer readings. Time dilation is significant. Copy that. Stellar inquiry. I'm reading your position. Beginning approach vector now. What happened next would be studied in naval academies across the galaxy for generations. Captain Chen didn't attempt a conventional rescue. Instead, he did something that violated every principle of safe spaceflight. He dove directly into the neutron star's gravity well. Phoenix Rising, you're heading into the event horizon. Yarick's K's voice carried a mix of alarm and disbelief. Your ship will be torn apart. Negative control. I'm not going into the gravity well, I'm going to use it. Chen's plan was madness disguised as physics. Using the Phoenix's experimental drive system, he executed a series of micro-jumps that treated the neutron star's gravity field like a slingshot. Each jump built momentum, and instead of fighting the massive gravitational forces, he rode them like a surfer on a cosmic wave. The Phoenix Rising screamed past the stellar inquiry at impossible speeds, deploying emergency tractor cables that should have snapped under the stress, but somehow held. Chen used the neutron star's own gravity to whip both ships around in a parabolic arc that transformed their fall into an escape trajectory. How? Captain Vorth 9's voice crackled through the comm as both ships broke free of the gravity well. The mathematics. This shouldn't be possible. Chen's response carried the easy confidence that had kept him alive through a dozen impossible missions. Captain, human pilots learn to fly in gravity wells. Earth's got one that we call home. We've been pulling crazy maneuvers in impossible situations since we figured out how to get off the ground. But the precision required. The timing. Yeah, well, we also invented something called seat of the pants flying. Sometimes, you just have to trust your instincts and hope physics is feeling cooperative. The rescue made interstellar headlines, but what surprised the galactic community wasn't that a human had attempted the impossible, it was that he'd made it look routine. Within weeks, human pilots were being recruited for emergency response teams across known space. Later, during the official inquiry, when asked how he'd calculated the trajectory for such a complex gravitational maneuver, Captain Chen shrugged and said, "I didn't calculate anything. I just felt where the ship wanted to go and trusted it to get us there." The Andorian Science Collective spent months trying to understand the mathematics behind Chen's rescue. They never did figure it out. The equations simply didn't work unless you factored in variables that couldn't be quantified: intuition, desperation, and the peculiar human ability to treat impossible situations as merely challenging puzzles. Captain Vorth 9 retired from active service and became a professor of emergency navigation at the Galactic Naval Academy. His first lecture always began with the same words: "Today we're going to study the Chen maneuver, a rescue technique that works perfectly in practice, but is theoretically impossible." And in the margins of official reports, seasoned commanders across the galaxy began adding a new recommendation for impossible rescue situations: call the humans. They don't know when to quit.